By the Rusty Healy Agency in Madison. Call Rusty Healy or Landon Thompson at 601-856-3681 to request a quote or learn more.
A conviction, then possible suicide attempt. Another day with a heat advisory. 95 is the high, a 40% chance for rain and storms. Tonight, 76 is the low with a 30% chance for storms. 91 Friday with possible tropical weather moving in and an 80% chance for storms. With news on 103.9 WYAB, I'm Chris Davis. After being convicted on bribery and mail fraud charges, former Canton Municipal Utilities engineer Rudy Warnock crashed his car along I-20 near Pelahatchie Wednesday, got out and tried to cut his own throat, report multiple sources, including WLBT. Warnock was being treated at UMMC. Warnock and Cleveland Anderson were both found guilty Wednesday by a federal jury. Anderson was found guilty of conspiracy. Warnock's crime was bribing two former aldermen to appoint him as CMU engineer, for which he provided gifts, including fishing trips and concerts. The verdict was unanimous and took about 2 hours. Warnock faces a possible 50-year sentence November 18th, and Anderson a possible decade in federal prison. The proposed ski mask ban in Greenwood, a proposed curfew, and a local state of emergency there, all intended to help cut down on violent crime, were all turned down at this week's city council meeting. All of those proposals came from new Mayor Kendrick Cox, who also made appointments for police chief, fire chief, and director of public works, all of which were turned down by the council, forcing him back to square one. Markello Braxton's kids are out of the hospital. He's the man who shot his 24-year-old son, his 6-year-old daughter, and shot and killed the mother of his little girl, 30-year-old Nikiria Jude, in Robinsonville Friday before killing himself. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them and do not necessarily reflect those of this radio station, its parent, affiliated, or related entities, agents, or employees.
Welcome to Crossing the Aisle, the daily show where politics and relationships collide. I'm Shaun, a Democrat who believes in building bridges.
And I'm Lindsey, a Republican who thinks he's building them in the wrong direction.
Every day we break down the biggest political stories from both sides, we challenge each other's views, and somehow we still sit down for dinner.
No shouting matches, no echo chambers. Just real conversations around the issues that divide us and the common ground we can sometimes find.
So whether you're here to debate, learn, or just hear how a politically opposite couple makes it work,
this is Crossing the Aisle.
Welcome into Crossing the Aisle, and happy Thursday, everyone.
Happy Thursday, Lindsey.
Yes, it's Crossing the Aisle here with Shaun and Lindsey, coming to you live from the Men's Health and Women's Wellness Studios right here in Flora, Mississippi.
On a day that's going to be, I saw before I left, 100 degrees, I think is like the heat index.
Ouch.
It's going to be hot.
Ouch, ouch, ouch.
So get over to
Pure Air Consultants.
Call Pure Air Consultants for all of your air conditioning needs, and because if it goes out right now, it's going to suck.
Oh, that's going to be miserable. Absolutely miserable.
And get over to Women's Wellness and New Care Men's Health to lose some weight, because if you lose some weight, it's the summer's a lot more bearable. I've learned every time I'm lighter in the summer, it's a lot easier than when I'm really heavy. So you don't feel. That's true.
A good thought. Yes, and I am. Obviously, I'm doing some stuff with women's wellness, and next Tuesday I have the 1 month mark. I go back from. I will have been doing the new semaglutide. This is the compound Ozempic, and the generic Ozempic. I've been using whole new skincare line, and I go back Tuesday, and then I'm going to start showing you guys some before and afters. And I think you're going to be really, really surprised at the difference that you see. I have been extremely pleasantly surprised and extremely happy about the services offered over there at Women's Wellness. And it's not just about weight loss or beauty. I mean, it's also about your health, and they can do it all. It is just a one-stop shop where you can feel great about yourself, look great, and be actually healthy. So y'all check them out. And I'm supposed to be getting a promo code for women for you to be able to use, and maybe some specials that are coming up. We're going to work on that on Tuesday. So I'm super, super excited about that.
That's awesome.
Yes. Shaun, big news day yesterday.
Yeah, we had wow. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. I think we briefly, Rudy Warnock, who's the infamous Canton engineer that has had many, I guess, rumored legal troubles and real legal troubles, as was evidence yesterday by his conviction for, I believe it was bribery. I think it is. I'll double check that. I haven't followed this trial as much as a lot of other trials I've followed, just because I guess Rudy Warnock's name has been in the news for so many years. I mean, more than, like over a decade at least.
Well,
Way more than a decade.
Just constantly putting it off.
I mean, and after he was convicted by a federal jury in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Mississippi yesterday here in Jackson, he left the courthouse looking at an exposure, I believe I read, of 20 years to serve, and attempting to commit suicide by driving down. And I don't have this accurate exactly what happened. I've heard two different stories. Again, today I've talked to a few people where he, I think, stabbed himself in the neck and tried to slit his wrist and wrecked his car either before or after the wreck occurred. I don't know. The stories are different on that.
You have got to have some kind of nerve, some kind of guts to stab yourself in the neck.
Mm-hmm.
That to me would be like the most horrible way to commit suicide, in my opinion. I can't imagine being able to do that to myself. That sounds horrific. Absolutely horrific.
Yeah, and Warnock was found guilty on 4 counts: 2 counts of a conspiracy to commit bribery, 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and 1 count of wire fraud. And it relates to people, I believe, that were on the Canton Board of Aldermen between 2013 and 2019 that pushed to hire Warnock as an engineer. And I think he took them on trips, fishing excursions, I don't know, the New Orleans Saints games, a lot of wheeling and dealing there that ultimately cost Rudy, to be convicted of this crime that he faces a good bit of time in jail. And apparently that weighed on him pretty heavily because he attempted to kill himself yesterday.
But see, I just have such a problem with this because he's convicted, and from all accounts, I hear he's very much guilty. I guess we can say that without saying allegedly now that he has been convicted. But you to do that and to steal from people, that's very selfish in and of itself. But to me, this act after he was convicted yesterday, when you are putting other people on the road, their lives in danger, then you have to think about who is going to be the one to come and get you to the hospital. And just how I just feel like it's so incredibly selfish. He thought about nobody else, his family. He wasn't going to be sentenced until what, October?
I think it was November 18th. And actually I'd read somewhere it was 20 years. And again, like I said, I have not followed this case very closely.
Well, that was 50.
50 is the actual time, 50 and a fine of $1 million. So 50 years looking at that in jail. Now you do have the federal sentencing guidelines, and he's going to be, I don't think he's ever been convicted of anything. So he would receive possibly the lower end of that based on what the guideline scale would show for that specific crime. So I don't know what his total most likely exposure was. It would have been a lot significantly less than 50 years, I'm assuming.
Carrie asked, do we know what time this occurred and what type of vehicle he was driving? I looked at the times, and I think the verdict came down at like 2:20 something, 2:40 something, and then the wreck was reported around 4:20 something. So it was right 2 hours after they handed down the verdict. I don't know what kind of vehicle. Shaun, do you know what kind of vehicle he was driving?
No idea. So but he, so obviously it was going to be a lot of time, whatever the actual his exposure is.
But he was going to have time to go home and be with his family before having to be sentenced.
Yeah, he was right. He was going to get to go home. But you never know, Lindsey. I mean, you get so shocked after that. You look like you're going to jail for a long time, and you're just like, I mean, it's hard to think what's in someone's mind at that point. I've always thought about it just because I was on the prosecution side for so long. And every time I would sit there and we'd try a murder case and I'd convict someone and, the jury comes back guilty and the judge afterwards would sentence them to life in prison. I always would think, like, how does it feel to hear that you're going to prison for life? Like, that's got to be just, how do you mentally prepare? This is something I used to think about.
But he's had a long time to mentally prepare for this.
But I don't know that you ever do until like that sentence is handed down. And so I used to always think about that. Like, how do they feel like you're going to jail for life? Now, Rudy obviously is not life, but I think he's in his mid 50s. And if you were to get, 20 years, and it's like 85% of most federal sentences. So I mean, it's a long time. And put him in his 70s. And I don't know that he's going to get that kind of time, but still, so that's in his mind. And maybe he's thinking, I'd rather just kill myself than go to jail for the rest of my, next 20 years, whatever it is.
Have you heard today what his condition is? I haven't.
I heard he was, yes, this morning. I heard he's going to make it.
So he's stable, I guess.
That's what I was told this morning.
I imagine from here he will probably be in some mental health.
What they'll do is they'll revoke his status of being able to be out on bond pending sentencing, and he'll be transported to Madison County, which is where they hold the federal detainees. That will be on the federal government's dime, not on Madison County's, though. Because I know people were asking about that in the live stream last night. Would Madison County have to foot the bill? But that is going to be the federal government pays for that, because that's where all the federal, like pretrial detainees, pre-sentencing detainees, that's where they're held, is over there in Madison County Jail. And Sheriff Tucker's runs a pretty good ship over there for that, and the way that's whatever. But he does. In my experience, he does. So
we have a caller on line one. Let's see. Hey, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, thanks. Hey, Shaun, can you please explain to me? And this is what we were all asking today here at work. So he gets sentenced. Obviously, it's going to be a good bit of time. And what we're all wondering is, so how did he get to leave and be by himself and drive a car if he's convicted? And isn't it kind of weird that after he's gone through that, where's his family and why is he driving a car by himself? That's the question
like,
we were asking.
Specifically, like why he wasn't taken into custody right after the verdict. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, is why he wasn't taken into custody. And also, if he wasn't taken into custody, and I know it's a civil case and not a criminal case, but isn't it kind of strange that that they would just say, okay, well, see you later, and toss in the keys? And I just think it's kind of weird. I mean, where's his family? Why would he leave by himself? That's what we're all kind of wondering. Anyway, I'll hush up and just, that's kind of
I can explain that.
We're all wondering. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks for calling.
Yes, ma'am. So the way that works in federal court, it doesn't work this way in state court. Sometimes it can, but it's not the same process as federal court, at least in my experience in state court. But in federal court, if you're convicted, whether you plead guilty or at trial of a non-violent offense, non-violent it being like this was bribery, corruption, whatever the charge, wire fraud, I think, again, did not follow this trial very closely. I kind of wish I did now, considering how much drama it was. But then you can remain out until your sentencing date, which here I think is November 18th. So that's kind of the procedure in federal court. Now, if it's a violent crime, they'll take you into custody if you're convicted of that. But if it's a non-violent crime, they'll let you stay out until your sentencing date. So that's why he went home right after. He was free to drive his car, do whatever he wanted.
It does seem strange that he didn't have any family members or anything. That would, if I was family, I wouldn't have said, hey, go here, take the truck and go by yourself. I mean, you would think that the mental state's got to be a little unstable at that point when you've just gotten a big blow like that. Yeah,
you would think one of his wife or somebody would have picked him up, and maybe he, I don't know what happened. Maybe he got out of there and said, "I need to go take a drive." I mean, anything could happen.
Yeah,
we don't know
true.
what. I mean, I don't want to blame them either. It's just, it's not their fault that he's the one that just got convicted. So I mean, yeah, but that's why. I mean, you can be released, and you'll see that a lot. People are plead guilty or convicted at trial for a non-violent offense in federal court, and then they're allowed to be out pending their sentencing date, which again here is November 18th. So he would have been out all the way till then. Now he's not going to be able to, because there's going to be issues with worrying about him doing this again. Federal government has liability there, so he will, I'm sure, be held in Madison County. This is my best guess until his sentencing date. And if that sentencing date still holds, I don't know what his physical condition is or that kind of stuff to do that. But
right, I mean, big news. I mean, rocking the small town of Canton. Yeah, and if you have any thoughts, comments, opinions, you want to chime in, you can call us here at the station 601-879-0002. We are also live streaming on Facebook and YouTube, Crossing the Aisle, and you can leave us a comment there that we'll be able to see if you have anything that you want to say. But yeah, Shaun, lots and lots of news, lots of local news. Yesterday was just pouring in.
Yeah, we definitely got a lot. This hit pretty hard, and then there was the we talked a little bit about the Justin Fowler, who's been the kind of been a, I don't know what would you call him, a local lunatic or a
sociopath?
I don't know. That he pled guilty to threatening the Rankin County prosecutor Trey Spillman, and been involved in some other things. And I think our own Clay Edwards had actually brought charges against him at some point for threatening him a few months ago, maybe. And then now there was his mother was arrested according to what the information that we received.
His mother was arrested on revenge porn charges.
Okay.
And I didn't know we were one of the last states to pass this law, but I guess we talked about this a little bit on our live stream last night. If you missed the live stream last night,
Yeah, we'll get into some
you
of
missed
that.
it. You really missed it. You need to go back and check that out because it really got quite it went off the tracks. I'll just say that. But yeah, so the revenge porn, Lynn Fitch, that was one of the things that she wanted to get done at the legislative level, and I think that it's been several years ago now that did pass here. But what she did was went actually online and on Facebook and in the comments told people that she had her son Justin's phone. She had nude pictures of his ex or the mother of his child, and she would send them to you if you would like to see. And you can't do that. That's a big no-no. So she was actually arrested and bailed out pretty quickly yesterday afternoon. So that was kind of jaw-dropping that you're ignorant enough to say it on Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's pretty that whole scenario is crazy. You can look at it online if you want it. Y'all go on Facebook and stuff. It's just there's just been so much. I don't know. It runs all together, Lindsay. All this stuff.
It does. It
Yeah,
does.
so.
There's a little group, a little posse, and they are a little deranged.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah, but we got to take a break. Y'all stay with us. We've got lots more to talk about. We've got a legislator who's going through some drama, and then there's a doll who's killing people out there. So we're going to get to all of it. Y'all stay with us. We will be right back here on WIB 103.9. We are back here on Crossing the Aisle with Shaun and Lindsey, WIAB. Shaun, there was an article by Kingfish today on Jackson Jambalaya. You want to kind of tell us about that?
Oh, you're talking about the Chris Johnson saga, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, y'all, there's a senator. Is it Senator, right? He's a Senator Chris Johnson, I believe.
Mhm.
And he is out of the
Mississippi.
No, I know Mississippi, right? Not well, not a U.S. senator.
Right.
Mississippi. There was a U.S. senator named Chris Johnson here. And I believe it's whatever district encompasses the city of Hattiesburg, I believe, that he represents. Is that right?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
You know the Mississippi legislature way better than I do. I don't know anything, because I don't think they do anything. But the
Hey, we ban porn.
and yeah, I mean, I think it's a useless organization, but that's just my opinion.
My goodness.
But yeah, so he's a Senator Chris Johnson. He was he had had an affair with a local doctor's wife, and it's a story Lindsey and I actually heard about a long time ago, and we just kind of didn't really want to get into the muck of it. Just not not our thing really. What do you say? I mean, we both kind of looked at it months ago, but it's gotten a little bit more heated now. The lawsuit was
taking some turns,
where the plaintiff is a David Roy, and he's a doctor in Lamar County, Forest County, Hattiesburg, something like that. And he sued Senator Johnson for this ongoing affair that he had with his wife that apparently spanned several years. And now, then they issued a subpoena, Lindsey, to get the text message between Johnson and his girlfriend of the last 2 years until the last few months. Apparently, they broke up just a few months ago, and because she's an attorney. And Johnson is saying those text messages where allegedly he admitted to the affair to his girlfriend. And I'll explain that for everybody in a minute, how that, can work and how that's still people are still going to get control of those messages. So he said, well, you can't have these messages because it covers like attorney-client privilege, because my girlfriend attorney was advising me and serving as my lawyer.
And full disclosure here, she is a friend of mine.
Yeah, she's a friend of mine. I guess we could say her name. It's Becky Pruitt, who was a former Miss Mississippi.
Former Miss Mississippi. I highly have the utmost respect for her, and I hate that she's kind of been drug into this.
Yeah, nothing bad to say about Becky. She's an assistant DA down there in that district for District Attorney Lynn Carter, and has been for quite a long time, I believe.
Very well respected. Fights crime hard.
But she's single, and she was dating Senator Johnson, which is fine. I don't think he was married at the time either or anything. No. And so nothing there, but she had found out about the affair that he had previously had with Dr. Roy's wife.
Right.
And they had discussed that during the course of their relationship, which just like anybody does in relationships, discuss things and, the uncomfortable things that have been of each party's got to pass. And, how everybody knows how that is, loves those topics. Anyway, so this is, I'm sure Becky was like, oh, great. So you're having an affair with the freaking doctor's wife.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was not a lovely, comfortable topic. I mean, nobody when you're dating wants to hear that, like that. I could see where that. So she was already, what I'm reading in this affidavit was kind of a source of contention. It sounded like.
And he kind of had to come clean to her because he probably knew that there were this lawsuit coming.
Yeah, I think that he told her that their lawsuit was going to come in about, well, I can tell you one thing. At least he was honest to her about, hey, this is what happened in the past before the lawsuit was out there. I'll give him that credit. I mean, but so of course, that caused some contention in their relationship. And I think at some point they broke up, and then he went back and started seeing the married woman again. And I don't know if she was married anymore at that point or not.
Or they at least were together sexually.
Yes, that's what, according to the statement that Miss Pruitt filed. Well, Senator Johnson has said in his response on a motion to quash the subpoena by Dr. Roy to get these messages.
So the Senator Johnson, he wants to stop the other side, the doctor who's suing him for alienation of affection. He wants to stop him from being able to get control of Becky's messages, who was his girlfriend, because that would show that those messages corroborate that he was sleeping with the doctor's wife.
Right, exactly. Because I mean, the thing is, and she says here in her statement, I have not commented publicly on social media or any public forum about the affair, despite the numerous articles related to it. I tried to handle the demise of our relationship and the aftermath in a respectful manner. Where it says, I have been placed in this upsetting situation where I have no choice but to publicly defend myself professionally and personally with facts to refute Chris Johnson's feigned attorney-client privilege assertion. I do request, however, that I only be required to turn over relevant messages that refer to Amy, this is Dr. Roy's wife, and their affair. So, and I think that's fair. That's what she wants. Like, they're just what's relevant to the situation. You can have the messages that where Chris told me, is what Becky's saying, about the affair, and then, then that's discoverable. he's trying to say that, well, she can't do that because she served as my attorney. And I want to give you an example, while ridiculous this is.
Mhm.
I mean, like, I'm your boyfriend, but I'm a lawyer also. So we don't have an attorney-client relationship unless I could represent you on something, and then we would, where I specifically said, well, I'm representing you on whatever the matter is, be it
Mhm.
civil or criminal or whatever. But just because we discuss the situation, just because the fact that I'm an attorney doesn't automatically make
you my lawyer.
doesn't make it, and you're not under the guise of what's called attorney-client privilege. Well, Senator Johnson, who sounds like a D-bag to me, by the way,
Mhm.
is sitting here saying, oh no, my girlfriend, I told her stuff because she's an attorney.
He just does not want them to be able to get Becky's messages because it's going to prove what he did.
First of all, she's a
criminal attorney.
Well, she's also an assistant DA in a position I held for a decade.
So therefore, she can't do.
You can't represent anybody outside of that. Like, it's in the law. Like, you're not allowed to take private clients. So
this made her look bad professionally.
Yeah, it's like she's taking a private client on. You can't do that. No, I mean, you could give your family some advice, but you're not representing them in that capacity. So he's saying that she's like representing him, and all she did, according to her, was she recommended. She said, "Look, hey, I don't know anything about domestic law or civil law. You know, you go to these people who I know do a good job," is what she referred him to. And what do I do on every show, or when people message me? I refer them to people.
If it's something you don't do, you refer it to someone that you know does it well.
Because I don't know anything about domestic stuff. Like, I don't know jack crap about that. And I bet Becky's very similar. She's a criminal lawyer her whole career. She's probably like me. Like, we know really good at one thing that we do, but when it comes to this other stuff, so what the natural thing as a lawyer, you refer to another lawyer you know that does that. Like my family case, I get so many calls and texts about like a family case, a divorce or child custody, and I send them all to Michael Moore. You know, that's the guy I always send it to because I know he does a good job, and I don't know anything about that. Michael does. So
what a crappy thing to do. Not only to lie about her saying that she was your attorney, but to throw her under the bus in that manner to make her look as though she had gone against what she is able to do in her career professionally. Right. Like, I mean, because you can't do that. That's misconduct.
Yeah, exactly. It's I mean, it's so stupid. Like, I have a relationship with someone who happens to be an attorney that I happen to discuss some unethical conduct that I committed, sleeping with a married dude's wife, which is pretty bad. I mean, if you believe in morals, it sucks, right?
Yeah.
So and you're an elected official.
Right.
So, and I'm sure I'm going to guess, and I'm going to look this up in 2 seconds. But what do I always say? What's my standard line about Republican politicians? I love Jesus 27% more than my opponent. So I'm going to see if this guy has written anything like that, because I'm going to guess he has. I don't know, but I'm going to guess.
Kingfish has this up on his Jackson Jambalaya page. Go look at it. Check it out. Yeah, my heart bled for Becky because I know her and I know she's a good person. And my heart breaks for her because you could hear in her statement that she's just mortified.
Yeah, it sounds terrible. I mean, because it looks bad on her. Like, she was just dating the guy,
right?
Not illegal or unethical or anything else. They're both single.
Mm-hmm.
And he happened to, have had this affair that people in their relationships discuss private matters. It happens.
Right.
It's not always like when you and I discuss things, it's not an attorney-client discussion. Like, we discuss a lot of things. It's not just because I happen to be a lawyer. Like, that's, I mean, and that's what he's telling the court, like, oh, well, I mean, Becky's my lawyer. No, she was your girlfriend. She wasn't your lawyer. She was your girlfriend.
And she had no idea that he was going to file this.
Mm-hmm.
This like hit her, came out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure. And she says,
it was like a punch to the gut. I'm sure.
And did you get a chance to read the whole thing?
I read the whole thing, and I could just hear like the heartbreak.
Right.
In her statement.
Yeah. I mean, she's sitting there saying, wait a second, man, I never said that I was, representing you. In fact, I told you that I don't know anything about civil law. Like, if you told anybody that I was representing you on like some sort of chancery court or like, domestic action,
they'd laugh.
You know that, like, I know you were lying, because how many times have I told you that I don't even know how to do a divorce? Like, I don't even know how to do any of that.
You don't want to know.
I don't want to know. I do not want to know, because that is I don't know why anybody does that work. I don't know why anybody. That's the worst.
He wants the drug dealers and the DUIs. He does not want the custody cases and the divorces.
Well, because people are so angry during those things that you can't deal. It's not worth the money, in my mind. I mean,
well, yeah, because then you end up going to court a lot more too. I feel like.
Yeah, you're always there, and you're always dealing with people who are never satisfied in those situations. So it's just not something that I'm interested in. And apparently Becky's not either. That's why she's a criminal lawyer, and she told him that.
And very good at it. I mean, she's able to practice in 3 states. I mean, she's got her license in 3 different states and has been very, very successful. I hate this for her. I hate that he has drug her into this.
Yeah, I mean, I think yeah, and she's always, I think she, if I'm not mistaken, I think she does all the violence against children stuff.
She
I think
does.
that's
She
what
does.
she
And
does.
that's what I
That's her
was
big
telling you.
thing.
Because, yesterday when you first heard about it and I told you, I said, she's not a civil attorney. I said, she is criminal
No,
only.
I knew who she is because when I was in, when you've been in a former assistant DA, we all kind of know each other in that world.
I mean,
So
but like
I
that,
knew who
she's
she was.
passionate about that stuff. Like I mean, everybody knows her, knows that that's the only kind of law that she's ever practiced. So
Right.
it seems even just outrageous that he would even want to imply that she would represent him on, these other types of charges, because that's just not what she does. So shame on you, Senator Johnson. I'm going to call you out. And I think you're pretty crappy. Number one, for having an affair with a married woman. And then number two, dragging my friend Becky into this, because it's not fair to her.
And he's got, okay, like, let me just read it. I told you I'd look this up, and lo and behold, I found it. Chris Johnson, conservative values, family and freedom. Stand with a conservative that stands firm. I told you, I knew it.
They all say stuff like
but
that.
wait a second, you're sleeping with a dude's wife, and you're talking about family values. I mean,
That's not the kind of values I want in my family.
This is why I'm never that's why I always jump on you, Lindsey, about this Republican stuff, because there's always these folks that do that.
Oh, don't act like the other
Every
side doesn't
time.
do it too.
Well, they don't, but we don't jump. We don't run on that though. We don't. That's not our thing. We don't run
y'all
on
run on
family
wanting
and freedom.
kill babies.
Yeah,
All right,
exactly.
we got to take our next commercial break, but y'all stay with us, and we are going to get into Annabelle
Gotcha.
when we get back. Stay with us. We are back here on Crossing the Aisle. Shaun, you said you just saw they did.
Yeah, the Kingfish, if you go to Jackson Jambalaya, has got a breaking news. The federal government has moved to revoke the bond of Rudy Warnock, who was convicted yesterday in federal court of wire fraud and several other crimes, as well as trying to kill himself after the verdict. So they have moved to revoke his bond based on the fact that he's a flight risk and that he poses danger to himself and others.
Right, which we kind of expected that would happen today, right?
So that's happened. They filed that motion now. I imagine that'll be granted based on the circumstances. And we were just finishing up a discussion. Speaking of, if you want to go over to Jackson Jambalaya and look at the article regarding Chris Johnson and Dr. Roy in Hattiesburg.
And he is running for re-election right now. His primary is in August.
It's called The Thickening. And it's the tort of, and people, I sometimes act like people know about this, Lindsey, but alienation of affection is still a civil tort in the state of Mississippi. And that is, if you're married and someone is having an affair with your spouse, and you can sue them for what's called alienating their affection from you. So that's still a valid cause of action here. And so then it happens quite frequently, actually. There's always debates about, like, isn't this crap that we still have this, this tort? But I think we're one of the very few states that actually do have it. But it's just a controversial kind of thing, but it's used frequently. And especially if you're wealthier, I've seen it used a lot for that.
If you do get,
obviously if you're poor, like, why would you sue somebody? But
if you do see any of Chris Johnson's campaign ads, he chose to use one of Becky's children in his campaign material without her permission, by the way.
Yeah, that's what she said. And I forgot to mention that. She said that he was put one of her kids in the campaign thing. But apparently this goes into what's my standard Republican line: love guns, it's called hate gays, and love Jesus 27% more than your opponent.
Nobody hates the gays.
It's the line. Well, here I'm going to read you. Look, this is the line from one of his postcards, mailers, or whatever, and it says Chris Johnson's priorities. One of them are defend our conservative values by promote our traditional values by protecting life, marriage, and freedom of religion. He didn't really protect Dr. Roy's marriage very much, did he?
No, he did not.
He
did not.
So, but I kind of, it was obvious to me that we'd find, I'm sure there's plenty of material that reflects those
and I don't know. I'm going to have to look into that. I don't know who's running against him, but if you are in the Hattiesburg area in Senate District 44, you got a primary coming up, and you might want to look at this.
Yeah, and this is being covered extensively by the Hattiesburg Patriot. They're the ones who've kind of sent this out, and Kingfish is doing a lot of coverage up here. Kingfish and the Patriot, funny, are kind of running on these dual Hattiesburg stories. One is this one, and the other
the lawyer,
the Faraz, the scum bucket, which Kingfish has got a new article about. Did you see the new one he dropped about Faraz? Faraz is the attorney, y'all, who was on the run for so long for holding on to that lady's money in a wrongful death lawsuit.
The widow,
about $450,000. He paid half of it back, and he's still being held in jail.
I think there's just going to be a special place in hell for people who do widows wrong. The Bible's very clear when it says, protect the widows and the orphans. Shaun Tyndall.
So then he owes $195,000 according to the court, and he's going to remain in jail until he pays it, is what the judge said. So we'll see how long that lasts. But there's a new article about him there today, and more drama. He's sued by another person on June 30th of this year, just a few weeks ago.
Not shocking.
Yeah, it says here there was a lady named Julia Bullock who was a victim in a hit and run, and she suffered severe and permanent injuries. State Farm paid Faraz $140,000 to settle the claim, and the complaint takes a familiar term. Faraz made two partial payments to her of $6,500, but still owed her $18,500 and did not pay it. So he's getting sued by Miss Bullock in the county court of Forest County for that money. And there's an end to, if anybody doesn't know about this case, other than the one where he owes the lady with the $450,000, which half of it he's still in jail until he pays the $195,000. He's also indicted for doing something similar. Based on actions at his old firm, and an indictment stemming out of 2021. So he's facing criminal charges from like 4 years ago. He's got this new one where he's sitting in jail because he owes, nearly $200,000.
He's in jail now?
Yeah, he's in jail. The chancellor's not letting him out until he ponies up the $195,000.
You know what? I bet he wishes that Psycho Doll tour with Annabelle would come here. And
that's a more fun topic. One remaining time, I do want to talk about that. We just got caught on Chris Johnson and how much he loves Jesus and everything, family values. So there's this doll called Annabelle, who is this haunted or demonic, Lindsay will correct me,
Yeah.
Raggedy Ann doll. Lindsay,
Look, I've been following this.
so let me just state this before we get into this. Lindsay obviously is a conspiracy theorist of the two of us. She believes in pretty much anything. And if there's a ghost, you can believe the ghost story. She's going to believe all these things that, chemtrails, whatever. And I'm the opposite. I don't believe in anything, like pretty much nothing. I'm pretty much not.
Yeah, he still believes we went to the moon.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So we're always on polar opposites of this. Like, anyway. So there's this doll called Annabelle the doll. There's a movie she told me called The Conjuring. It's based on.
And then there's sequels called Annabelle. I mean, there's actually a movie called Annabelle.
Well, this doll has been on a nationwide tour, and yesterday,
the people that owned her said, "Don't ever remove her." Like, they were very clear.
Let me back up to that. So the genesis of this story is that this doll was found by this couple who said that the doll was actually possessed by a demon. Initially, they thought it was a small child in the doll, like Ghost, but they found out that it was a demon or whatever. So it's possessed by this demon. They put it in a glass case, locked it up. It's in this glass case going back from the 1970s. That's a short version.
Yeah.
So then this doll, I guess, gets part of these ghost tours, and they take it to New Orleans in June.
And people are lining up to see this doll. I mean, this is a very famous doll, like paying $80 a person to walk by and see this doll. So this was, I think, May in New Orleans. And so she was in town in New Orleans for a few days. And during that time, the sugarcane plantation, very famous place in New Orleans, burnt down. And I think there were, I can't remember how many of them was it? How many incarcerated people were escaped?
Yes,
inmates escaped.
It was, if everybody remembers, it was that infamous New Orleans jail escape from about a month ago. Well, Annabelle the doll was there. Lindsay thinks she was an accessory before the fact to escape, apparently assisting the inmates from escaping from the New Orleans jail.
Well, I sent this to you back then, and you ignored it because you're like, "Oh, that's so stupid."
Because you want me to believe a demon doll helped the freaking ghost.
Well, I'm telling you, you better not deny this demon doll because she might come for you.
Well,
there's something about this doll. No, but y'all listen, get this. So the doll is still on tour, and this person that's taking this doll around on to these different cities. They were in Gettysburg, whatever. And he just dies. No reason.
Yeah.
Dies suddenly. Young, healthy guy.
Gettysburg, the site of the Civil War battle that we all know very well, and the Gettysburg Address that President Lincoln gave. So they took it there. I'm not sure exactly why they picked Gettysburg, but it's hallowed. They've
been going to all different.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying Gettysburg specifically is like hallowed ground out there, and so they took it there maybe to, I don't know, feed off the spirits of Gettysburg. Who knows what it is? But so the doll's there, and the guy what's his name, Dan Rivera, 54 years old, was the one kind of the leader of this tour. He ended up dead in his hotel room for no apparent. They said natural causes. What I read.
Yeah, well, I know what causes. I mean, he was in a room with Annabelle.
Right. Well, I don't think he was actually. She was in his hotel room. Not that I read that. I didn't read that. But I mean, she was adjacent, wherever she was. Annabelle, the demon doll, Lindsay thinks killed this guy.
The grandson of the couple who had this doll initially, has said when they started this tour and they announced this tour, he made comments like, "I am not involved in this. I do not agree with this. This is not going to end well. And look, here we are. We've got all these inmates who have escaped New Orleans. The sugarcane plantation has burnt to the ground, and now dude's dead."
Yeah, so I mean, that's right. So now the demonic Annabelle doll is charged with murder in Pennsylvania, and so we'll see what happens from there. But the only thing
I don't think you can actually charge a doll, Shaun.
You can't charge the doll. She needs a good lawyer, though. She goes onetextlaw.com, and I'd hook her up. I
don't want to touch that thing. I don't want it anywhere near me.
I would be pissed if I was at Gettysburg, and I said this last night, if I got killed by a demon doll instead of a Civil War
Raggedy Ann. It's a Raggedy Ann doll.
Because if it's going to be supernatural, I want to be killed by the Civil War ghost, like Jebediah with a musket. Like, I want that guy. The guy that's pissed off about the Brandon Monument right now, like that ghost.
I think this was all Annabelle. I'm pretty sure this was all Annabelle. So last night we're on our live stream with Clay, and he was mentioning how they're searching for this one inmate who they believe to be in Jackson, one of the ones that escaped from New Orleans.
Love,
and I was like, that's the ones that escaped when Annabelle was there. And then Shaun and Clay at that point laughed at me and made fun of me. And
I mean, it's amazing. What's funny about you saying that a demonic doll assisted inmates at a New Orleans jail to escape? I mean, I don't know what could possibly be comedic about that.
I'm telling you, you know how I feel. That stuff is real.
I mean,
and it scares me. Like I don't want to open a door to any kind of demonic being.
I mean,
you know how I feel about Ouija board, all that stuff. I'm like, nope. I believe it.
But then you did suggest that we burn the doll. Remember?
Well, I said I wonder why nobody has burned the doll, and then
But then I read why we're not supposed to burn the
Yeah,
doll.
then
Well,
I
I can't believe I'm even rationalizing this, but this is why you don't burn the doll.
Why
It's
is
because
that?
the spirit can escape from. God, I feel stupid even saying this, but
that stuff is Shaun, I swear.
it's what it says. Or you'll release a spirit or something.
I'm not kidding. There are things possessed by demons. It happens all the time.
It's common.
Yes, people get possessed by demons, and I guess dolls do too, because Annabelle is
And the
definitely
dolls.
possessed.
I mean, why did the demons attack the dolls?
I don't know. Clay's theory was that all of the trans men who've decided now that they're or whatever they were.
Now we're blaming demons on the trans men, or the trans men.
Yeah,
because
they played with dolls. Or
they played with dolls. So the demons have a conspiracy to get men and women's sports, and that's it. We got to take a break on that.
Yeah.
We'll
we
be right
got some
back
people
on
in the
Personnel.
comments who watched last night, and they said last night was, y'all got to go back and check out the live stream from last night if you missed it. The last 20 minutes or so was all Annabelle. But stay with us. We'll be right back here in WIV. We are back here on Crossing the Aisle for the last few minutes of the day.
Yeah.
Shaun, won't be with us tomorrow.
No, I've got to do this thing called a CLE where it's a racket where they take money from you to get what's called continuing legal education, and it's all due by the end of July every year. And so all lawyers are all late, but it's just basically a money making racket.
And you waited till the very last
Yeah,
minute.
because it's hated. I mean, no one's ever in their history ever learned anything in the CLE. It's like the stupidest thing, and it's made me mad for the last 20 years. I'm sure most lawyers, I mean, I would gather 95% of lawyers agree with me. The 5% that don't were the kind of dork dudes in law school that kept raising their hands. So that's what I would say. And I bet every other profession's got their derivative of this, whether you're in the medical field
Yeah, I know
or
they
an
do.
accountant or whatever. So
It
it's
sounds
really
kind of
nice. That's
interesting
what
though.
I'm
It's like
doing.
you're going to be watching movies all day.
Yeah, I picked the funniest or the whatever CLE, like it's about like lawyers in the movies. I'm like, oh, I can sit there and just watch movies. I'll just, whatever. They're taking my $300, so
They're watching Legally Blonde.
Yeah,
I mean, like, what is
yeah. There you go. I know, right? Really great training skills here. We're gonna watch Legally Blonde, and my cousin Vinny is on the list. So we'll see how that goes. And but they got my $300, so that's my yearly tax to the Mississippi bar.
We'll miss you tomorrow. Hopefully, I think we have a guest lined up that's gonna
tell
us all her catfishing
Is it
stories.
Annabelle?
It is not Annabelle.
I mean, because she'll be here tomorrow though, via Amazon Prime.
Shaun, if you really ordered one of those dolls, like we are going to have some serious problems. You better not.
I mean,
do not do that to me.
I mean, I may have done that last night.
I figured you did, but you better send it back. You better cancel that order right now.
Cancel the order on Amazon about it's just a Raggedy Ann doll. It's going to look nice in the podcast room.
No. No.
So.
You're conjuring up something right now. I'm telling you, you better stop playing with that stuff. It's not funny.
I know I might get destroyed by a demon or possessed or whatever you call it.
Well, if Shaun's not back on Monday, you'll know what happened to him. Annabelle took him out.
A demon got me, according to Lindsey.
We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.